What's good, people? I'm back, and today, well, right now, UFC Fight Night Fiziev versus Torres just wrapped up, and this is kind of my immediate recap slash reaction. Plus, I'm going to do the matchmaking and all that stuff because when I do like recaps and reactions and stuff, I always do the matchmaking in it as well. Let's just start off with the main event, bro. The main event, we had Rafael Fiziev versus Manuel Torres. Manuel Torres, he was looking good in round one. It was pretty close, it was pretty competitive, but Manuel Torres was landing some nice jabs. Rafael Fiziev was landing really good leg kicks. But, I thought Manuel Torres won round one. It was pretty competitive. Manuel Torres was landing those straight shots, like exactly how I said he should and he would. Because my prediction was that he was going to do something similar to Hoofy. And yeah, he used his hands and his reach similarly to Roofy, but man, in round two, as soon as Fiziev touched gloves with Torres, like a second after he touched gloves with Torres, he just spun around, landed a wheel kick, like a spinning wheel kick. It wasn't even like on the chin. Manuel Torres blocked it with one arm, but that's the problem of blocking kicks with one arm. It still fucking hurts, and he got knocked down. He landed on his ass. He like flew across the octagon and landed on his ass. That wasn't like that was still recoverable because he kind of blocked the kick, so it wasn't like he was gonna be out cold. But then Rafael Fiziev just started throwing a fucking flurry, and then Manuel Torres, instead of like, he should have just clinched up at that moment, but maybe he was so rocked or maybe he was so wobbled. He was probably not in the right headspace, so he didn't. Instead of clinching up, he tried to clinch up, or he tried to frame off, or he was throwing shots. I didn't really understand what he was trying to do there, but whatever he was doing, he wasn't able to accomplish it. And regardless, he should have tried to clinch up. And Rafael Fiziev just landed like a very nasty hook in close, and it kind of just put Manuel Torres down. And he followed up with hammer fists and ground and pound, and obviously the fight got stopped. Pretty crazy finish. I was not expecting that. Like, as soon as the round opened, he would throw a fucking spinning wheel kick and it would land. Especially because Rafael Fiziev is so short, and he would landing a fucking spinning wheel kick on a taller guy. Dude, that's fucked up, dude. That's fucking hard, dude. I did not think he would be able to do that. Well, to be honest, spinning wheel kick is one of those kicks that you see shorter guys land more effectively on taller guys. Mostly because of the technique. Like, a properly thrown wheel kick, because if you're a taller guy and you have to throw a wheel kick, you kind of have to angle it a bit lower than usual, because usually when you throw a spinning wheel kick, you throw it like at a very upward angle, like your leg is going as high as it can. And if you're a taller guy and you throw it like that, like you usually do, your wheel kick will just go above your opponent's head. But with shorter guys, that's not really a problem, so they can just wing the wheel kick. Even Edson Barboza, you look at his wheel kick highlight, it was against a taller guy. And if you're a shorter guy, maybe, shorter guys, they have a problem with the kicks and stuff. But wheel kick is one of those kicks which I think actually does work pretty well against taller opponents. Especially because they can't really throw it back as much. Obviously, I think there's, nuance to it. It's not as simple as that's just it. But Rafael Fiziev, man, he's good. The real question is, how good is Mauricio Hoofy? The real question is, how good is Justin Gaethje? Manuel Torres, man, he looked good, bro. I thought he was going as per the game plan. Like, he was good. But that wheel kick, man, he just didn't block it properly enough. It was like, he even blocked it, dude, but it just got through, man, somehow. That's just bad luck, bro. You gotta block it with two hands next time, dude. Sometimes you can tank a wheel kick like that. Sometimes, even though it lands on the guard, you get knocked out. And I thought it could have been savable. It was savable even after he landed on his ass. He just needed to clinch up Rafael Fiziev really, really hard. But man, he just fumbled that. Okay, he fumbled that already, but it was savable. Regardless, I got my pick wrong. Ha ha ha, laugh at me. Like, this isn't normal. I'm 7 of 13 on this card, by the way. Yeah, I quit, bro. I'm done with this shit. As for the matchmaking, by the way, I'm not gonna do a lot of matchmaking in this video because usually when I do matchmaking, I prep beforehand, and then I'm like, okay, the winner of this fight should fight someone like this, right? And I do matchmaking like that. Like I already prep, look at the guys and all that. I didn't have time to do that because I'm really busy with studies currently. So let's just some of these some of these fighters I won't matchmake. That's all I'm gonna say. As for Rafael Fiziev, I think, I don't know, man. He should fight Rafael Fiziev. He should fight the loser of Paddy Pimblett versus Benoit Saint-Denis. The loser of that fight should fight Rafael Fiziev. I think it makes sense rankings wise. I think, BSD has never fought Fiziev. Pimblett's never fought Fiziev. Well, to be honest, if Pimblett loses to BSD, they're probably gonna give him Dan Hooker or something. But I would like to see the loser of that fight Rafael Fiziev. I think it makes sense if regardless of who loses that fight, it's gonna be high. It's gonna be a very hype fight against Fiziev, and that fight is only 2 weeks away. So it's not like the timing also makes sense. But as for Manuel Torres, I think he should fight somebody in rank, like somebody fringe top 15. I say let's make Manuel Torres versus Rafa Garcia. Hear me out. Manuel Torres versus Rafa Garcia makes fuck ton of sense, dude. Rafa Garcia, he's on this nice little win streak. He just beat Alexander Hernandez, who was on a pretty good winning streak himself. People were saying he should be fighting somebody ranked. He just beat Alexander Hernandez. I think Rafa Garcia versus Manuel Torres is the move, bro. As for Shara Magomedov versus Michel Pereira, I said Shara Magomedov was gonna do well and he's gonna catch Pereira off guard after he guesses out in round 2. I did not think Shara was gonna get dropped that badly, dude. Thank goodness Herb Dean doesn't stop fights early, dude. Or else I would have gotten that pick wrong. But to be honest, it should have been a draw. Because I thought Shara Magomedov won the last 2 rounds. He lost the first round. Maybe it was a 10-8. Maybe. I thought it was a 10-9. Especially because he reversed Michel Pereira near the end of round 1. So I thought it was a 10-9 round. It should have been a draw because a point should have been taken away. Not only was he grabbing Michel Pereira's hair, which is very fucking illegal, he eye poked him. Michael Bisping on commentary said something along the lines of completely accidental. That shit was not accidental. I saw fucking intent in that eye poke. How do you frame off? How do you have your hand framing off open for 5 seconds fucking straight? Usually when people frame off, they just push their opponent and their fingers are open for a split second. How do you frame off on the air? By the way, he's framing off on the air so that Michel Pereira doesn't come in close, and his fingers aren't even up. His fingers aren't even in the high five position, dude. They're pointing outwards. And when Michel Pereira finally commits, he pokes him in the eye, trying to frame off. His fingers weren't when you usually kind of put your hands out there, you kind of frame off with your hands so that your opponent doesn't close and come close and close the distance and stuff. You try to keep your hand out there to measure reach and shit, and just to keep them away. You usually keep it completely open or completely closed or semi something, right? He had it his fingers were completely extended outwards as if he was trying to poke him. Look at that. Go back and watch the fight. Go back and watch that eye poke in round 3. Blatant foul. I thought a point should have been taken away after that. But whatever, I got my pick right. Finally, one of the only picks I got right. But it was pretty expected. But you gotta give Sean Strickland some credit, man. That guy really knows how to mimic styles because somebody like Shara Magomedov, that straight cross is gonna be there, and that's exactly what Pereira dropped him with. And I thought Pereira was gonna do some more autistic shit than he does, than he did, like he usually does. But the most autistic thing he did was probably that rolling thunder at the end of round 2. Yeah, whatever, dude. I thought Magomedov won the fight, but it should have been a draw and a point should have been taken away. As for the matchmaking, I don't care. I'm not matchmaking Shara Magomedov and Michel Pereira. The next fight we had, holy shit, dude. We had Sarikov versus Mateus Camilo. If you don't understand, Matheus Camilo lost to Gabe fucking Green. Nazim Sadikov was on a crazy win streak. He beat Terence McKinney. He was knocking everybody out until he got knocked out by Fiziev. Matheus Camilo went to like a 29-28 decision with Vyacheslav Borshev. He looked shit against Vyacheslav Borshev. He looked horrible against Vyacheslav Borshev, especially on the feet. He didn't look that good. You mean to fucking tell me this guy knocked out Nazim Sadikov? I want to call it a fluke, bro. That shit, it looks like a fluke. It looks like he fluked Nazim Sadikov. And it was an early stoppage, I think. Like slightly early. It would have, maybe you let Matheus Camilo land one more shot and then you stop the fight, and then I would have been like happy. Okay, that's perfect. I don't mind the stoppage though. I do think Sadikov protesting was whatever. But dude, that's not how you defend off the bottom. So yeah, I don't blame the referee for coming in and stopping it. It was a good stoppage. It wasn't bad. It was just slightly early, but I don't mind it. It's completely like forgivable and shit. It's not bad. But there is one stoppage in this card that has gotten on my veins, and we'll come to that in a minute. Okay, not in a minute. Like after maybe like 15 minutes. Matheus Camilo, fuck this life, dude. He like landed a fucking straight right and he just completely folded Nazim Sadikov, dude. What I mean by folded is his legs turned inwards and went fucking into him. Like his legs his legs turned into a fucking flip phone. That's what I mean by he got folded, dude. How was I supposed to know Matheus Camilo was gonna beat Nazim Sadikov, let alone know that he was gonna knock him out in the very first round that early, that brutally? I think Nazim Sadikov might be a fraud. I think this whole new generation of lightweights might be fraudulent. Like, how does Manuel Torres lose to Rafael Fiziev, dude? Quillen Salkeld, he got dropped by fucking Beneil Dariush. Paddy Pimblett, he lost to Justin Gaethje. BSD, he lost to Dustin Poirier. You know, BSD also lost to Renato Moicano, he just beat Duncan. Rafael Fiziev, he just beat Manuel Torres. You know, Rufi, he lost to fucking BSD. Now I don't consider him that much of a new gen. He's like somewhere in between. He's not like a proper new generation fighter. You know what I mean? Like, dude, Esteban Ribovic, Gamrot submitted him. There's a trend I'm seeing, dude. There's a trend I'm seeing with this new generation of lightweights that they might be very fraudulent. Ilia Topuria, he's technically a very new generation fighter from a very new generation, especially at lightweight. Justin Gaethje, holy shit. This new generation of lightweights might be very fraudulent, dude. As for like Nazim Sadikov, dude, maybe he was a fraud, maybe he was never that good. But dude, he has some couple decent wins. How the fuck was I supposed to know this was gonna happen? This is why I don't value predictions as much. Because predictions and breakdowns are two different things. Breaking down a fight is like, you sit there, you analyze it stylistically, you take, some like their physical attributes, their styles and shit, you match them up against each other, you look at the quality of their wins and stuff, and like how they performed and stuff, and how you think they would perform against this fighter style and all that. But when it comes to predicting, predictions can be complete. Your breakdown can be 100% spot on, but your prediction can be completely off. My breakdown was pretty spot on for Torres versus Fiziev. But what happened? This Nazim Sadikov versus Matheus Camilo is why you need to understand why betting on MMA is so risky. Anyways, I'm not gonna matchmake this shit. As for the next fight, we had Almabayev versus Charles Johnson. I thought Almabayev was gonna win by decision. It was pretty close. He was about to win by decision, but then he took Johnson's back, and then Charles Johnson tried to shake him off, and then he just did a Salive stretch. And dude, that's the fourth Salive stretch in UFC history. I was so hyped, and obviously, like, it was such a masterclass, dude. I did not think Astor Mobile would be able to get past the range of Charles Johnson that easily, because people have struggled with him with that. Oh, like before is like, dude, look at fucking Joshua Van, dude. He's the champion, but even he struggled with, getting across the reach. Lonnie Kavanagh. So, but Alex Perez, he was able to get across his reach and knock him out. And Asul Mabab, he was landing on the feet, dude. The ground was just completely different, but he was also landing really good shots on the feet. Charles Johnson pretty much had nothing for him, and after round one, you could just see Charles Johnson pretty much. He was like, fuck this, dude. I'm done. I'm done fighting. Like he pretty much, it looked like he gave up. You could see it. You could see it that Charles Johnson pretty much, you know, gave up. You could see him sitting in the corner and be like, fuck. You could look at him and you'd be like, oh shit, yeah, it's over, bro. It's over for Charles Johnson. As for Charles Johnson, first off, you gotta shave that shit off. Like when it was like kind of lower on the head and that hairstyle was kind of small, I was able to tolerate it a little bit. But now you look like a fucking middle-aged merchant, medieval merchant, dude. Like those merchants from the medieval periods. You look like one of those bald bastards, dude. So yeah, Asul Mbaal, just complete domination, crazy finish. This card was full of crazy finishes. I like that, dude. So yeah, it is what it is. I think I should match. I think it's pretty, you know, think it's pretty obvious who Asul Mabayev should fight. Asul Mabayev versus Kyoji Horiguchi. Let's make that fight. Make let's get that done. Makes complete sense. Kyoji Horiguchi, he's coming off a loss. He's still top 5. Asul Mabayev, he just picked up a win. He needs a step up in competition. I'm not gonna give him like somebody like Roy Bal, or like Roy Bal already has a fight book. Tyra, I'm not gonna give him somebody like that high ranked as Tyra, who just came off a title fight. Other than that, you can only give him Kyoji Horiguchi, and I think that makes complete sense. And I matched Kyoji Horiguchi with the winner of this fight, anyways. So next fight that happened, the fight before, I should say rather, was Aliskerov versus Bruno Ferreira. It went pretty much exactly like I said it would. Aliskerov, I did not think Aliskerov would be that far ahead on the feet. Bruno Ferreira was landing like some good shots early on, but as the fight went on, Ferreira's striking just went downhill as well. The knees were landing from Aliskerov. Aliskerov was landing some good shots, and Bruno Ferreira's power kind of is overrated, and it kind of dies down over time, and it just didn't look like Bruno Ferreira just didn't have the same kind of power. It just didn't look like he had the same kind of power, dude. Bruno Ferreira, I told you, he has good jiu-jitsu, but Ikram Aliskerov was just gonna be a step ahead, and that's pretty much what happened. Ikram Aliskerov outstruck him on the feet. He was landing the bigger, better shots, took him down, held him there, landed some ground and pound, beat him. Pretty nice decision. It wasn't necessarily boring, but it was nothing to write home about, dude. Then we had Magomed. Then we had who the fuck fought, dude, before that. Magomedov versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. I thought Abuse Magomedov was gonna win by decision. I did not think he was gonna spark out Oleksiejczuk that badly. We knew, we knew, and I also knew that Oleksiejczuk was already a fraud. We knew his win streak was a bit fraudulent and stuff like that, but I did not think he would get like knocked out that horribly by Abuse Magomedov and then get submitted. As for the matchmaking, once again, I'm not gonna matchmake this. I really don't care. Oh yeah, as for the Ikram Aliskerov matchmaking, it's Ikram Aliskerov's ranked, right? Okay, he's not ranked, but I would say Ikram Aliskerov versus Roman Dolidze makes a lot of sense, to be honest. Makes a lot of sense to me. You could give him Roman Dolidze, give him somebody ranked, or like give him somebody coming off a loss or something. I don't know. Give him somebody ranked next, I think. Yeah, that's what you do with Ikram Aliskerov. Then the fight before the Abuse Magomedov fight. Abuse Magomedov, by the way, he knocked down Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. He landed like an elbow. It was a grazing elbow. It wasn't even on the chin. It was like on the side of the head. It didn't even land cleanly. It grazed him. It wobbled him. And then Abuse Magomedov just followed up with like a straight right, and it was what put Oleksiejczuk away, and then after that Oleksiejczuk somehow even survived, and then he just sunk in a nasty guillotine. Oleksiejczuk tapped, and the referee didn't see it. Like referee came in, he tapped like he started tapping, and referee came in, like he saw it. It took him like a half a second. There was like a half a second delay between the referee seeing and him tapping, but by the time it was stopped, he was out. That was a pretty damn tight guillotine, dude, for him to be out cold that quickly. Abuse Magomedov, dude. Only if this guy had good cardio. Next fight, the fight before that happened was Eric Nolan versus whoever he fought. Pretty much the most boring fight in the fucking world. Mom, can we get DDP versus Khamzat? No, we have DDP versus Khamzat at home. Fight. Dude, I fucking hate this guy. I hope he gets slimed out in his next fight. I thought he was a striker. I looked at his record. I'm not gonna go back and watch his regional fights. So I only looked at his record and stuff. And I was like, this guy has a lot of knockouts and shit. I'm like, okay, he's a striker. And on the feet, he's gonna be a step behind Eric Nolan. Which he kind of was. And he's on the feet, he wasn't looking that good. And, he took down Eric Nolan, held him. He wasn't even landing that much damage on the ground. Like, he wasn't landing that much ground and pound either. Yeah, boring as fuck. I nearly fell asleep in that fight. The fight that happened before that, let's just skip over to that. I'm not matchmaking this motherfucker. We had Yakhyaev versus... Holy shit. Yakhyaev versus Julius Walker. That might have been the quickest knockout in UFC history if you look at it. Like, okay, it wasn't, but, that might have been like a proper TKO. Like, a proper that might have been the fastest TKO ever. It was 8 seconds. Yakhyaev just keeps, like, reducing his fight time more and more and more. He might have, like, the shortest average fight time right now, dude. Yakhyaev, the first punch he landed, Julius Walker got cold. Julius Walker threw a jab. Before his jab, like, even fully extended, Yakhyaev threw a punch, it connected and it put Julius Walker, like, it knocked down Julius Walker. It slammed. And then Yakhyaev just followed up, slammed him out. It was crazy, dude. I'm literally Yakhyaev, dude. Me and Yakhyaev last the same amount of time. Make of that what you will. Yakhyaev, dude, I'm so hyped about Yakhyaev because at first I was like, yeah, he's an early finisher and whatnot, and he's gonna be one of those guys that finish fights early. He has a lot of power, but when he gets to that higher level, he's not gonna be that good. But dude, Yakhyaev, he looked good, bro. I'm saying this, he looked good. And Julius Walker, he's not that hard. Okay, he's not that easy of an opponent that you can just finish him in 8 seconds. And I know I talked about this with some people and they're like, we should save this fight for the future. Fuck no. Make Ivo Baraniuski versus Abdulrahman Yakhyaev. Winner of that fight fights somebody ranked. The reason I want that fight right now is because both of these guys are undefeated. That'd be fun. The second reason is people are like, save it for the future. You're gonna kill off another prospect. I don't care, dude. One of these guys is gonna get fraud checked in the near future when they enter the top 15. Better sooner than later, dude. They're gonna get fraud checked sometime in the future after they start climbing up, because both of them have only beat Cans. And dude, I might be favoring Yakhyaev now in that fight, dude, because Ivo Baraniuski, he's exactly like Yakhyaev. He pretty much just finishes everyone in the first round, like, very early. Now I want to see that fight. There's also another reason, like, in counter argument, they're like, oh, you're gonna kill off another prospect. One of these guys is gonna, there's a very high likelihood that one of these guys gets fraud checked in their next fight. So rather than them getting fraud checked, let's have them fight each other. There's a very high chance one of these guys gets fraud checked. And if they end up getting fraud checked, that fight is just off the board. That will never happen. That's not gonna happen. And not only that, the prospect is gonna die anyways. The prospect, after getting fraud checked, is gonna die anyways. So rather than them getting fraud checked now, you let them fight each other. One of them, it kills off a prospect. It doesn't really kill off a prospect, to be honest. I don't know why there is this kind of, like, I talked to some people and they're like, it's gonna kill off another prospect and stuff like that. I don't think it does, because you look at a lot of times this has happened where prospects, like up and coming prospects, fight each other, and then both of these guys enter the rankings. It happens quite a lot, dude. When they're unranked and the up and coming prospects fight each other and stuff like that, it happens. It doesn't really kill off the prospect, in my opinion. What really kills off a prospect is them losing to like an unk and getting fraud checked. That's what really kills off a prospect, and I would rather not have that and just have them fight each other right now. Let's make that fight happen. I would like to see that fight just for like the early finishing part. Like both of these guys finish their fights so quickly for that part. That'd be so exciting, dude. The fight that happened before that was Ruzi Boyev versus uh who was it? Pulyaev, whatever, however you pronounce his name. Pulyaev, I said, yeah, Ruzi Boyev is better than him everywhere. I did not realize Ruzi Boyev was this good, dude. Ruzi Boyev was actually pretty good. I thought Ruzi Boyev just was kind of like overrated and shit like that. He's actually good, which is kind of like, I don't really understand how this guy with his grappling skill set lost to Joaquin Buckley. That's concerning, dude. Because his grappling skill set is definitely good. Andrei Pulyev, he went out cold, and you know what? You know what the fucking referee did? He took his arm, he grabbed his arm and he put his arm down, and he's like, oh, trying to check if he's out, and his arm is literally, his arm was near his head, and now his arm is near his hips, because he's trying to defend the choke, and his arm goes near his hips. He puts his arm near his hips, and his arm is still there. And Mark Goddard is just staring at him for 5 seconds. Like, oh, your arm's down? Oh, okay. Does that mean you're out? Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. He's fucking unconscious. Stop the fight. As soon as, like, dude, you can feel if somebody is unconscious. If you can move their arm really easily, with no effort whatsoever, no resistance whatsoever, that means they're out. That means if in a fight somebody is defending a choke and you can just grab their arm and put it down, what are you waiting for? Stop the fight. Like a normal referee would have halfway through that motion of like grabbing his arm, would have just stopped, would have just been like, oh, stop the fight. Mark Goddard just stared at him for 5 seconds and saw his eyes roll back into his head. What the fuck? I'm not gonna matchmake this one either. So yeah, because I don't really care. Ruzi Boyev looked really good, and I'm gonna wrap this up pretty quickly because I don't have that much time. Then the fight that happened before that was Reyes versus Khan Offley. I fucking hate Khan Offley, by the way, because for one, I don't know why he represents Turkey. Just represent Australia, bro. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Also, Khan Offley had a very horrible robbery against Caesar. And the only reason he won that fight was because it was in Australia. So ever since then, I've been a Khan Offley hater, and I don't like seeing Khan Offley win. And Khan Offley also has fucked over my wins, like every single time. I have picked 3 Khan Offley fights. I've picked against him all 3 times, and he's won. Well, did he really win the Isha fight? No. Reyes, fuck, dude. Reyes pretty much just took a massive hook on the chin and got colded. I don't want to talk about it, dude. I'm kind of sleepy right now, and I also have like studies and work to do. Dude, I have so much homework left behind it. I really need to cover it up so that I can really lock in on my YouTube and shit from next week. The fight that happened before that was Donchenko versus fucking Begarin. Donchenko pretty much colded him bad, horribly. Pretty much finished Begarin pretty bad. Not many words. It was pretty much like a hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby. Pretty much what you expected. Daniil Donchenko, in his Alex Morono fight, I was like, okay, this guy's not really that good. But I might be changing my opinion soon. But also that was Theodore Begarin. We don't even know if he belongs in the UFC. Like, this guy was 8-3 when they pulled him on short notice. He was 8-3. So we don't really know if he was that good, but fucking dude. Daniil Donchenko looked very good in that fight. I'm not gonna matchmake that one either. The fight that happened before that. Now this, Alma Khan versus Jean Matsumoto. I said exactly what was gonna happen. Alma Khan wins round 1 and 3 definitely, and I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna make a reel proving it because I'm hearing a lot of people say, "Oh, it was close. Oh, it was fucking the round one. It was a close fight." It was not close at all. It was pretty clear. Alma Khan won rounds 1 and 3. I don't think there should even be a debate about that. First of all, one judge scored the round 1 for Jean Matsumoto. And that's all you fucking need to know. I'm calling. I need to see that judge and I want to slap him in the face personally. I don't care if I get arrested. I don't care if they like put me in jail, if I get sued or whatever. I want to find that judge. I'll fly out to where he fucking lives and I'll slap him in his fucking face. That's what that judge deserves for giving Shin Matsumoto round 1 of that fight. How can you win round 1 of a fight in which you got dropped? I'm so fucked because I picked the fight pretty. Dude, I picked two underdogs, both of them lost. But dude, Baksar Alma Khan didn't lose, dude. He won that fight. Even the people that are saying that he won the fight, they're saying, "Oh, it was close though. It was a close fight though." I don't think it was close at all. I don't think it was close at all. I think it was pretty clear. Alma Khan won round 1 and 3. Jiro Matsumoto clearly won round 2. Alma Khan clearly won rounds 1 and 3. There shouldn't be a debate about this. You either learn the judging criteria, you either take a look at the judging fucking criteria and learn how to judge fights, or you develop a fucking good pair of eyeballs. Because how do you think that fight could have went to Shin Matsumoto? I don't like. I've never even seen. I have yet to see somebody who thought Shin Matsumoto won that fight. Also, I don't even have a problem with. The problem isn't that people are saying Shin Matsumoto won that fight. The problem is that people are saying it was a close fight to score. It was not. It was not. It was a pretty easy fight to score. If that fight would have went to split decision with Baksar Alma Khan winning that split decision, that would have been crazy in itself as well. Because how do you score that fight for Shin Matsumoto in any fucking world? I'll break that third round down because we can all agree rounds 1 was Baksar Alma Khan, round 2 was Shin Matsumoto. I'll break that third round down. I'll do a fucking full on video if you guys don't believe me. I'll do like an Instagram reel breaking that fight down, breaking the third round down, and scoring the whole third round for you guys so you can see that it was such a horrible robbery. That was the third worst robbery of this year, behind Isha, behind Natalia Silva versus Rose Namajunas. Behind those fights, it was the worst robbery of this year. I fucking hate the judge, and Jean Matsumoto is a fucking fraud. And this is what I mean by Baksar Alma Khan's resume. If you look at Baksar Alma Khan's resume, he's 3-1 in the UFC. He should be 2-2. The guys he fought are Umar Nurmagomedov. The guys he lost to are Shin Matsumoto, which he didn't lose to, Umar Nurmagomedov, and who the fuck was it? Alexander Tuporia. Baksar Alma Khan is actually good. And dude, Baksar Alma Khan got robbed, dude. Because of that, I lost my pick. Whatever, I'm kind of crashing out over here. Nascimento, whoever he was fighting, I don't know who the fuck Nascimento was fighting. Nascimento, he was fighting fucking Tahir Abdullayev. Tahir Abdullayev pretty much knocked him out in round 3 pretty horribly. I actually didn't see that fight, like the most of that fight, because my Wi-Fi wasn't working properly, so I had to get my shit running properly and whatever, and I couldn't fight I didn't really watch the first 2 rounds. I started watching like midway through round 2, like near the end of round 2, so I don't really know what happened. Anyways, that's it. That was my reaction recap / matchmaking, whatever you wanna fucking consider it. And I'm gonna go sleep for like an hour and then work like a dog for videos, for memes, for everything. So yeah guys, wish me luck, and I'll see you guys in the next one.